Dryer fires are preventable. Learn how-to tips coming up in this video. It is reported there are about 2,900 clothes dryer fires each year. These have led to an estimated 5 deaths, 100 injuries, and $35 million in property loss each year. And that's just what's reported. We've even had a dryer fire and didn't even know about it, but more on that at the end of this video. Many times the cause of the fire is what was put into the dryer, such as oily rags or clothes with flammable solvents in them. However, the leading cause of dryer fires is failure to clean the dryer. This video will show the basics of dryer maintenance in varying levels of difficulty. If you don't feel you can handle any part of this, contact a qualified service person for assistance. But keep watching to see what is involved in this kind of maintenance. Both gas and electric dryers can catch fire. But since most of the ones I've worked on are gas, we are going to focus on that. Leave a comment below if you want to see a video focusing on electric dryers. The most basic maintenance of dryers is what you need to do each time you open the door to put something in or take something out. Clean the filter. There's a lint filter in every clothes dryer, and it's there for a very important reason. Lint is combustible. It even makes a great fire starter for your campfire. But depending on where it comes from, it can catch fire with little effort or take some time. It can either burn quickly, or it can burn for a long time, or even be self-extinguishing. But more on what burns and what melts at the end of this video. So why clean the filter every time you open the door? Human nature. We forget things that are not habits. If you develop the habit of cleaning, or at least looking at the filter each time you open the door, then you are less likely to forget, or at least you have a better chance of doing it. If that filter is clogged with dried on lint, just brush it lightly or replace it if needed. The next basic part to clean is the vent hose. You have one, right? It can be solid or flex, but it needs to be cleaned as well. Start by unplugging the dryer from electricity to prevent it from coming on while you're working on it. Then disconnect the vent from the dryer and either run a brush through it or a vacuum hose. Both are effective and both have limits. The vacuum will suck out most lint and debris if the hose is long enough. The brush aggressively removes stuck-on lint, but only pushes it toward one end, and then it's blown out the next time you start the dryer. How often you clean this depends on how much you use your dryer and what kind of clothes you dry. A good starting point is about every 3 months. If you don't see a buildup after 3 months, you might go longer next time, but in no case should you let it go for more than a year. Crawling and flying things can build nests in there if the end is not guarded. While you're behind the dryer, this is a good time to check the gas line for leaks with soapy water, and also to check the electric cord for damage. While there's a lot more that can be done, most will only do the filter and maybe the vent. But if you feel you have some skills, the inside of the dryer itself is where you will find lint hiding that can build up without you knowing. If you don't feel you have the skills, a qualified service person can be contacted who will take things apart to get inside so they can clean out all the lint. Okay, so you're still with me. The next thing is to establish how to get inside the dryer. Some dryers have access from the front, some from the back, and some others you access it from the top. And then some use a combination of the front or back panels that have to be removed to get inside the dryer. For details on how your dryer opens up for maintenance, consult the manufacturer's website or check YouTube for specific details on specific models. A good rule of thumb, though, is if there are screws holding a panel in place, it can come off to access the inside. But before you start removing screws, take pictures and videos of what it looks like before starting and at every step of removing parts. That way you have a better chance of putting it back together without any spare parts left over. Now, some tools needed are screwdriver, nut drivers, gloves. There are lots of sharp edges inside there. A dust mask, because you're going to be seeing a lot of lint. In this case, the back of the dryer was the access point. 9 screws and the back just lifted off. This gave access to the ducts inside. The one on the right, as seen from the back of the dryer, is where the heat from the gas fire enters the drum. No need to clean that, as anything in there gets incinerated. The duct on the left is from the drum and goes to the fan. It also holds the filter. This came out by removing the 4 lower screws and 2 screws that held it to the top of the dryer. In this dryer, this is where most of the lint was trapped. It was making the vent smaller and smaller each time a load of clothes were being dried. Using a vacuum cleaner to remove this was simple and kept the dust down. While inside the dryer, any lint that you see should be vacuumed up, even if it isn't much. The reason is next time you may see more, but if you didn't clean it last time, it's hard to know if something is wearing out and is letting lint get past and needs to be repaired. This is also a perfect time to check the function of everything you can access as well. Dryers do wear out over time, but that time can be extended by fixing things that you find during regular maintenance. Then it's just put it back together. Now, as far as what fabrics burn at what temperature, or faster or slower, different fabrics burn at different temperatures. And some are even self-extinguishing, meaning that when flame is removed, it goes out by itself. Here are some of the fabrics that are common. When fabrics are combined, like in lint, the combination changes the way it burns, how fast and how much heat it takes to ignite. Now that's just based on the fabrics themselves. The addition of a flammable material to the lint will accelerate the burning. Now all of these required an ignition temperature of greater than just 400 degrees centigrade. The heating flame in a gas dryer is more like a flamethrower or weed burner, and so that's so much harder than 400 C. If the dryer and vent is maintained, this heat is harmless because it is used to dry the clothes and it flows out accordingly. But if it's not maintained, then you might have the problem that we did. Years ago, we had a dryer fire and we didn't even know that it had happened until sometime later. The lint and hair from washing and drying not only our clothes, but also the grooming towels that Sherry uses, had built up inside the body of the dryer. And along with a vent that was partially blocked, again, that hadn't been cleaned, this allowed the lint and hair to build up until it came in contact with the flame. We never knew it until much later, because the burning happened in the area around the flame, and the burning lint and hair did not have a continuous heat source, so it self-extinguished. I only found out about the dryer fire when I opened the bottom of the dryer to fix a bad gas valve. I found charred residue for about 10 inches around the flame. After that, we cleaned that dryer every other month and had no further problems.
Thanks for watching our video. If you like what you see, press the like button below and subscribe. And also check out our other videos.